Thanks for your support as a channel member, Ren's Nans! What happens if you put a perfect driver in the worst car on the grid and the worst driver on the grid in a perfect car on F1 Manager? Well, that's what we're going to find out in today's experiment. I've created a brand new team and two drivers for this test. World Champion channel members Jermatt and Justin are our boys behind the wheel. Thanks to both of them for their support of the channel. Jermatt will have the perfect car, while Justin is our perfect driver. I've created two specifications of car. Here's the maxed out performance vehicle for Jermatt, and here's the mess that Justin will be trying to get the most out of. It will be interesting to see if Jermatt can convert his advantage into a world championship, and how much Justin is able to outperform his machinery. Tell me in the comments right now, will Jermatt win the title, and will Justin score points? And where will the team finish in the constructors table? I think we'll do well to be 6th. Qualifying for the opening round in Australia did see Jermatt take pole position, but only just ahead of Charles Leclerc's Ferrari. Justin managed to beat Bortoletto's Sauber and both Racing Bulls to start 19th. Jermatt instantly lost pole position though as the lights went out, while Justin rose several places with a great launch. However, our Hungarian driver did get back into the lead before this mistake dropped him to P last. He'd got back up to 8th when he made another mistake on lap 39, causing terminal damage to the car. Meanwhile, with Justin, he was busy putting this stunning move on Alex Albon, which earned him 10th place and a point in his debut for the team. Impressive stuff. Lando Norris led a McLaren 1-2 ahead of Max Verstappen at the front. Jermatt took victory in the China sprint after starting on the front row. He made perfect use of his car to win by over 12 seconds. Justin came home in 10th. It was another Grand Prix pole as well for Jermatt on race day, as Justin also qualified in the top 10. Jermatt made another early error though, falling to the back before earning himself a penalty for this clash with Ocon. Justin was running in the points and had to fight back from being held in the pit lane after everyone dashed in during a safety car. We got both cars into the points with this sweet double pass on Albon's Williams, but a miscalculation on the pit wall saw Jermatt run out of fuel meters from the line, handing Justin 9th and meaning Jermatt didn't score at all. Max Verstappen beat the Ferraris to the win, taking the championship lead in the process. Everything was going well in Japan for Jermatt. He'd started on pole again, built a lead before his first stop and looked set for a good result. Then he did this. It meant he finished in 6th when he really should have been on the podium. Justin collected more points with 9th after passing Sainz late on, securing the team's first double points finish. Jermatt finally converted pole position into victory in Bahrain after we deployed the low fuel one-stop strategy. He'd successfully built a big enough gap to win despite a scandalous 5-second time penalty after this tangle with Liam Lawson, who was a lap down. Justin was on the same strategy and rose from 12th to 10th, although perhaps the 2-stop would have served him better. Still, he's scored points in every race so far despite his absolute shed of a car. Jermatt looked on course to make it back-to-back wins in Jeddah, but this crash on lap 25 put paid to all of those hopes. It did allow Justin to be brought back into the fight for points, with this double overtake on Antonelli and Alonso, followed by this move on Albon, lifting him to 8th by the end. It moved the team beyond 50 points, just 8 behind Mercedes in 4th place. Jermatt took another sprint race victory in Miami, having started on pole position. And as the Hungarian crossed the line, Justin was snatching P8 from Albon, meaning we halved the gap to Mercedes in the championship. We had our first wet race of the season, which should see Justin excel with his 100 adaptability stat. He went from 11th and Jermatt 4th as I planned a no-stop race. But those plans went up in smoke on lap 3 as Jermatt crashed and brought out the red flags. Justin was running an incredible 4th when Stroll caused a second stoppage, with the delays meaning it was now time for slicks. At the restart, he went on an absolute charge. He snatched 3rd from Norris before lunging Leclerc for 2nd and surprising Verstappen to grab the lead. However, he'd fallen back behind Verstappen, Russell and Leclerc by the time a late safety car was called, denying Justin a shot at a podium. Still though, 4th place in the worst car on the grid is a mighty achievement. Russell's P2, however, meant Mercedes left Florida 10 points ahead of us. Before I move on to the next few races, give me a follow over on Twitch. That's where I stream some of my other F1 Manager experiments on Sundays. We're currently doing a save where all the cars have maximum engine power, and it is wild. I also stream the AHGP Community League races there on Fridays. Both streams start at 7:30 PM. Now, back to Zermatt and Justin. Imola was also rain affected and Zermatt was hustling Verstappen for the lead, but he locked up at Tosa and lost 5 seconds to the Dutchman. Then there was controversy as Verstappen and Zermatt made contact with 10 laps to go, damaging Zermatt's front wing. The Hungarian driver's eventful day continued with a spin 3 laps later, and after once again catching up to Verstappen, he managed to make more contact with the Red Bull. Verstappen would end up pitting as Zermatt was hit with a 5-second time penalty. This time it was very much the correct decision. George Russell came through to win as Zermatt hung on for second ahead of Leclerc. Justin's points run came to an end as he finished in 11th. Zermatt was back on pole in Monaco, but heavy rain hit the streets and he exited the race thanks to this crash at Saint-Devote. Perhaps there were too many heroics. Justin would escape most of the chaos as cars crashed left, right and centre, but it was George Russell for Mercedes who took the victory on the streets of Monaco. We're now a third of the way through the season and Justin has dragged his bin on wheels to points on 7 occasions, gathering 27 World Championship points in the process. Zermatt, with his 2 sprint wins and Grand Prix victory in Bahrain, has 40 more points, but has also failed to finish 5 races from 8 starts, 7 of which were from pole position. Max Verstappen holds a 21-point advantage at the top of the table over Charles Leclerc. Zermatt was leading comfortably in Spain when Lawson broke down and triggered a safety car. I'd kept Zermatt mostly out of trouble through going for a one-stop strategy and being light on the tyres, so he wasn't pushing as much. There was this error which cost him some time, but he was still on course for victory. Zermatt was building a lead at the restart, but a clash between Sainz and Antonelli saw the race ended early, with our Hungarian driver declared the winner. Frustratingly, because of the countback protocol for races finishing early, Justin was denied a points finish as Sainz and Antonelli kept their respective 9th and 10th places. Justice for Justin, please. We started 6th and 12th for the next race in Montreal, with Zermatt again on a one-stop plan, while Justin would be pushing his tyres on a 2-stopper. But that all went out the window on lap 2 as Zermatt smashed into the Williams of Carlos Sainz, eliminating the pair of them from the race. The Spain winner would serve a grid drop in Austria. Justin benefited from more collisions as Albon and Alonso clashed at turn 1, moving our driver to 9th. The race was stopped after Antonelli crashed out, and it meant the Silver Arrows would score no points, with George Russell having retired earlier in the race. Justin barged past Norris at the restart and passed both the Red Bulls to be in the fight for the podium, and he was running 3rd as we hit the final DRS straight with Verstappen in hot pursuit. But the Dutchman, who needed the points with Leclerc winning, demoted Justin out of the podium places. Zermatt did qualify on pole in Austria, but he was sent back 3 places to 4th as punishment for destroying Sainz in Canada. However, he fought back to fight Verstappen for the win. There was some contact as he made the move, with the Red Bull's wing being clipped, but no penalties were awarded and Zermatt went on to win by 8.5 seconds. Justin had a difficult day though, finishing 11th, having started 18th. The win lifts Zermatt to 6th in the championship, while the team is now just 2 points behind Mercedes after the Silver Arrows only scored 10 points. Zermatt was again leading by a decent margin in Silverstone, but 2 spins on lap 24 reduced his 25-second lead to 3 as Russell, Verstappen and the Ferraris closed in. Despite emerging as the leader once all the stops were done, Zermatt had 2 red cars bearing down on him in the closing laps. On older tyres, he was unable to keep Leclerc behind as the Monegasque scooped a critical win for his title ambitions. Zermatt's 3rd spin of the day arrived on lap 49, dropping him to 6th and off the podium, not the result we were looking for on home soil. And sadly, Justin wasn't able to provide any of his heroics to boost our points tally. He finished in 15th. At the midpoint of the season, we've racked up 164 points as a team, 125 of those from Zermatt, who has won 3 Grand Prix. Justin has contributed an impressive 39 so far, but it looks to me like his car is about to lose touch with the points as others develop their cars. To keep it somewhat realistic, I'm giving his car a bit of a performance boost for the second half of the season, increasing its stats from 50 to 55%. It brings his car back to about where it was at the start of the season in terms of its performance against the other teams. Moving on to Belgium, and we failed to score in the sprint in Spa. Zermatt had this spin in a late rain shower as Justin battled to 10th. Zermatt would start the Grand Prix from 3rd and had moved into an easy lead, but he crashed out at the Fagnes chicane and it resulted in a virtual safety car, which allowed Justin to make a cheaper first stop. And we'd get some more VSC fortune later when Antonelli crashed out, meaning Justin could stop again under caution, losing less time. Emerging in 6th, he passed Norris, Sainz and Tsunoda to reach the podium for the first time. He wasn't far from pinching 2nd from Verstappen either, with the Red Bull managing a technical issue. Our next race was Zermatt's home race at the Hungaroring in Budapest. Could he win on home soil? Well, colliding with Leclerc definitely wasn't going to help his chances, and nor did us missing the moment to get onto wet when heavy rain arrived. We did benefit from Piastri's clash with Sainz, the Spaniard being handed a time penalty, which meant we bagged 5th and 7th after a late safety car. But having had both cars start in the top 6, it probably should have been a better result. After the summer break, we headed to Zandvoort, where Zermatt was again on pole position. Justin started 14th and moved into the top 10 on lap 5 with this pass on Sainz. But our hopes of winning the race went down the drain when Zermatt crashed heavily on lap 43. Justin would go on to finish 8th as the race concluded behind the safety car. Zermatt's crash in the Netherlands destroyed his ERS and gearbox, meaning he would serve a grid drop in Italy for too many power unit parts being used. He would line up P last for a race set to be wet throughout. Perhaps this would be another big day for Justin, given his wet weather prowess. He made a good start on the opening lap and then spent much of the race in 10th place, but late on he passed Tsunoda and Sainz into the Della Roggia chicane. But we lost the position to the Williams because we pushed too hard on the fuel, running short just as we crossed the line. Whilst that was happening, Zermatt snatched 10th from Antonelli, who was also having fuel issues on the final lap. There was a strange occurrence in Baku. Justin outqualified Zermatt and would start 3rd. He launched into 2nd at the start and set his sights on leader Verstappen while Zermatt ran 9th. On lap 3, Justin bullied his way past the Red Bull to grab the lead, moments before the race was stopped. He held the lead after the restart, but we'd stopped later than our rivals, meaning he had some ground to make up in order to win the race. He passed Russell and then caught Hamilton, engaging in a scrap with the Ferrari over the final podium spot. Justin was ahead as they drag raced to the line, Hamilton pipping us to the position. However, Zermatt snatched 7th from Sainz in exactly the same way, meaning we only really lost 1 point as a result of all of that. Coupled with Mercedes' low score, we were suddenly just 4 points behind the Brackley-based team. Justin again outqualified Zermatt in Singapore, but this time he was starting on the front row alongside Leclerc's Ferrari. He grabbed the lead on lap 2 before Zermatt did a Lance Stroll and crashed out at the final corner. Victory would eventually go the way of Lando Norris. A number of virtual safety cars were deployed during the race, meaning Justin wasn't able to fully exploit his two-stop strategy. He fell to 7th by the flag. Russell's P6 for Mercedes saw them extend their lead on us by 2 points. We lost more points to our silver rivals during the Texas sprint, Antonelli finishing in 5th while Justin was 8th. Zermatt was last after a technical problem, so I changed the components, which would mean another grid drop. Justin qualified 7th and nailed moves on both Mercedes when the lights went out, moving up to 4th, but he fell back through the order to an eventual P8, and Zermatt was making his advances on the points when he collided with Antonelli. He was hit with a penalty, suffered a puncture on the final lap, costing him the points position. Russell's 2nd place put significant daylight between us and Mercedes in the championship fight. We locked out the 3rd row of the grid in Mexico, and Zermatt was up to P3 when the race was stopped on lap 2. Stroll had clobbered into Sainz's Williams. The race got back underway and Zermatt made his way into the lead on lap 7 with Justin running 4th. Zermatt would later make contact with Norris when fighting over the lead, but our car was undamaged. However, a battle with Hamilton did see Zermatt pick up damage to his front wing and another time penalty, which felt entirely unjust. We served the penalty and Zermatt eventually finished 8th, a couple of seconds ahead of Justin, while Hamilton took the win. Mercedes also scored with both cars, further extending their lead over us to 30 points with 4 races to go. We managed to nibble a few points out of that gap as Zermatt won the Sao Paulo sprint with Justin in 6th. Mercedes failed to score. But for the Grand Prix, it was grid drops galore as we needed a new everything for Justin and a new ERS for Zermatt. But the duo put in excellent comeback drives. Zermatt passed Verstappen to finish 6th and Justin rose to 8th. Yuki Tsunoda took his first F1 win, but Russell was 2nd, meaning we lost more ground to Mercedes. Justin qualified an impressive 3rd in Las Vegas with Zermatt in P10, but Russell had pole for Mercedes. We stayed out during an early safety car and were fighting back through the pack when Zermatt made a costly error, dropping him to last. Justin had got himself up into 2nd and was fighting with Verstappen when our driver clattered the wall and eliminated himself from the race. Despite his best efforts, Zermatt was unable to score a point as Mercedes scored with both cars, making it a disappointing night in Nevada for us. We bounced back from that disappointment though with another sprint victory for Zermatt. He dominated the race in Qatar, winning by over 14 seconds. And he'd carry that form into Sunday, winning by 30 seconds in a stress-free race at the front. Sadly, it was a difficult weekend for Justin. He came away with no points. It meant that with one round remaining, we were 24 points behind Mercedes. Could we overhaul them at the finale in Abu Dhabi? Sadly not, because even with the P5, Zermatt was on course to bag before he ran out of fuel meters from the line. Justin was only 16th, despite Russell failing to finish. It meant we finished 5th in the Constructors' standings, 26 points behind Mercedes, but we did score 4 wins and 6 podiums across the season. All of those wins went to Zermatt, while he did also fail to finish on 10 occasions. Justin's only DNF came in Vegas. He ranked up a very respectable 102 points. I think he's done a great job to be within 100 points of Zermatt, despite the massive disparity in equipment. I'm pleasantly surprised that both our drivers are in the top 10 by the end of the season. I've really enjoyed playing this experiment. It's been really interesting to see how well the perfect driver did despite competing in a truck. Next week we'll be back with the $1 billion budget team to see how they fare over the next few seasons. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to the channel and also join the Discord. There's a link in the description. Thanks for watching, you're the best fans, it's bye for now.